Hey everyone, this is Justin Decknick, Chief Executive and Founder of NASCO. Earlier on in the week, and let me put the date into context. Today's January 30th, 2020. Earlier on in the week, I put together uh, some information regarding Super Bowl ads. And for those of you who are following our social media or seeing this information across some other platforms, you saw that I compared the price of a Super Bowl ad from the first Super Bowl to today. And to put that into context, a 30-second spot in the first Super Bowl was, I believe, about $37,000. And the Super Bowl coming up this weekend is 5 million. Just a major expansion of cost as it relates to how much it costs to market the business on the Super Bowl. Now we put some general kind of understanding to that, why that may be, because that certainly outpaces inflation, right? And yes, there's more people watching the Super Bowl. So the target audience is much bigger, which makes that time spot more broad. To put that into context, let's say you had a billboard, one was on Farm Road 10 in the middle of nowhere, and the same exact billboard, same exact size was on the uh, um, the 91 freeway going through Riverside. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people drive that every day. The point in that is that the projected audience does determine value as it relates to marketing. Secondly, it's unique to the Super Bowl, but ads are kind of become part of Americana, the culture of America, which means that the attention of um, the watcher is is going to be laser focused on the ad, which again makes that ad spot more valuable because not only do you have this bigger audience, but you have a bigger audience that's paying attention more. But that's some of the reasons for the increase in cost. But we also now need to kind of go one step further as it relates to why are they still making that decision? Because guess what, guys? It doesn't matter uh, all that stuff that creates that runaway cost. Fundamentally speaking, in order to make that decision of spending $5 million um, for a 30-second ad spot, you still have to have some reasonable sense that it's going to create some sort of return over time. You spend 5 million, if you don't get 5 million in one, well, you're better off not doing it ever. So there's got to be some reasonable suspicion that the return that of that 5 million is going to come back. Because guys, look, there is a sacred relationship in marketing. You pay for some marketing and you want to get that money back and then some, right? So these companies are making the decisions that, yeah, they're going to get that money back. And in particular, I always like to point out one type of business that does marketing on the Super Bowl. I do like to point out Budweiser beer sales, right? Um, Inevitably, we're going to see some Budweiser commercials. The iconic Clydesdale commercials. I'm certain we're going to see it. It's kind of been a tradition at the Super Bowl to look out for those ads. But it's a peculiar way to market because some traditional thinking of marketing is that you want to put money into something to get some sort of quick and easy return. And if you think about it, Budweiser, for instance, is spending $5 million for a 30-second spot in advertising to people that have likely already made that purchase decision several hours earlier, right? They're at their friends, they're at their home, they're sitting on their couch, um, they're watching the Super Bowl, and it's likely that they went out to the grocery store or what have you several hours earlier to get prepared, and that purchase decision's already been made. So these guys are spending a lot of money marketing to people that have already made that decision to purchase. It seems kind of peculiar why you do that. Yes, there is a good argument that, yeah, there's people at restaurants, there's people at bars. Yes, Justin, I totally understand that. But I would argue that there probably isn't enough, right? So we got to understand this a little bit better. We have to understand, why is it that a company like Budweiser is making a decision? By the way, like, Budweiser is a better marketing company than maybe they make beer. That's my personal opinion. They're phenomenal. If they're making that decision, I could tell you it's because it's the right one. And we all should kind of just blindly follow. They've become an iconic American company and brand because their marketing is second to none. So how is it that they're making these decisions? And I think that kind of pointing this particular scenario out kind of opens up the opportunity to talk about something that I think is a little bit more important as it relates to our day-to-day discussions with business owners, marketing professionals, etc. Because it's staggering. I mean, it is eye-opening how many marketing professionals I speak to that, quite frankly, couldn't tell you why they spend money on that. They would give you some, well, it makes sense. There's 150 million people on it. Yeah, but okay, cool. But it, you're talking in anecdotal kind of words. I want to know the principles of why that actually is being done. I want to know what if I open up the marketing Bible, I want to see the part where it talks about this is what you're supposed to do. I want to know why. Not just because it's got a big audience. Because gosh, there's plenty of things that we can kind of do that has a big audience, but probably wouldn't produce a great return. Shoot, I could probably put a cardboard sign on the corner of Bell Road and Grand Avenue in Arizona. Tons of people drive by it all the time. It's got tons of exposure. Probably wouldn't do too much though, right? So it's got to be a reason. And today's discussion is about return on investment. This is a huge discussion in marketing. Huge. Because it's always conveniently sold that if you give me X amount of dollars, let me reasonably show you how you are going to get that money back. Now, there's a big problem in the assumptions that we make as it relates to return on investments, not only from the marketers, because shame on us for perpetuating this problem to make a quick buck, but also the understanding of who we're selling it to and their tolerance for patience to see these things come through. So I've put together some hypothetical scenarios, and these things are generic in nature. I do want to say that up front. This isn't real data. This is conjecture, and but I think it's going to do pretty good showing a concept that I think is deeply and maybe the most important discussion we could be having in marketing. So I've put together some spreadsheets. Yeah, spreadsheets are uninspiring. And but it's going to do a good job showing some mindsets here. And kind of let me show you. So I got this first one. It got a sad face here, and obviously we're talking about return on investment, right? And this is the slightly misunderstood way of understanding it. This is the way that I think a majority of business owners and professionals want it to work. And because of that, I think the byproduct of business owners and professionals wanting it to work this way and having a strong expectation that it should, marketing professionals are gladly obliging to having these discussions. Why? Well, you'll see in a moment, because quite frankly, it's darn easy to sell. And I'm going to also show you kind of what this has led to in the marketing world. But let me paint a picture for you on this sad or slightly misunderstood topic. So I'm a marketer, and I hypothetically am selling a package for $2,000 a month, right? And if I sell you a package for $2,000 under this scenario, there's some sort of idea that I should be generating 2,000 plus some additional money, right? So you get the money back and plus some additional money, return on investment. So the investment's 2,000. You got to get above and beyond that 2,000 in order to feel good. So the first month I've produced 2,500, which is a nominal return of investment of $500 and a 25% return, right? So again, you spend 2,000, you get 2,500. I would actually argue that the assumption or the want is greater than this, because it's kind of difficult to see a $500 return on your business, especially if your business is, even a small business. Let's say the revenues are $100,000 a month, right? If you see a $500 return and you go to $100,500, are you noticing it? So, even under this hypothetical scenario, I could probably make a strong argument that it's likely that this wouldn't even be enough for someone to feel good about, because it's not very clear. But again, for purposes of this discussion, I think that this concept still holds true. Again, month 2, you spend 2,000, you get 2,750, right? Nominal return of 750, and you get 37.5%. And we can go down the line, and this is probably a scenario that a majority of decision makers, business owners, and marketing directors, and who's in charge of marketing for business want marketing to work, right? This is their expectation. And I don't want to say it's a bad expectation. Shoot, I would love to have these sort of numbers. And the thing with marketers that sell this stuff, what ends up happening is that they're all far too eager to sell marketing this way, right? Not only because they may actually believe it should work like this themselves, but also because, well, shoot, if you give me 2,000 and I give you 2,500, what are you waiting for? How many times do you want to buy it? If I give you 2,000, you get 2,470. Who doesn't buy that? Of course, it's silly not to buy it. In every one of these scenarios, it'd be silly not to buy it, right? And that's the point. I mean, the point is that if you are being sold marketing and you have a general understanding that it should be this way in this scenario, well, the marketers kind of fit very nicely in a bucket that says, well, I kind of believe you too. It should work this way. In fact, we're going to have this kind of no-brainer discussion that it's silly for you not to buy my marketing. Now, this leads to a whole host of problems, and kind of one of the bigger issues that I see in the marketing industry as a whole, because let's call a spade, guys. Nobody trusts marketers. They find them to be very unethical. They feel like they've been lied to, misled, etc. And the reason why is because this scenario is not only expected, but the marketers are pushing it as well. Ultimately, when things are sold this way, this is what ends up happening. This is the real world, right? So now I got this angry face, very disappointed. How many of you felt disappointed in your marketing, right? Because it's likely that what ended up happening was that you spent the $2,000, and instead of making the 2,500, aka expectation, you found that it was 600, right? Which was a $1,400 difference in a return on investment that you have calculated of, you lost 70%. Next month, same thing. $2,000 you paid, you got 400 off of it. Again, you lost $1,600, and it's a 80% loss. So it's no wonder that when the industry and the idea of marketing is based upon this is the standard, this is the beacon, this is how everything is measured, is through this understanding of what marketing should do, that when this actually happens, people aren't very happy. Man, I can't tell you how many businesses and how many marketing directors and how many decision makers I have talked to over the years that are just, quite frankly, fed up with marketers. Fed up. is because their expectation, how they're sold is this, and this is what they're delivered time in and time again, nearly 100% of the time. So what in the world is going on? Why is this happening? Is this industry just full of people that are selling snake oil? What is really going on? Because if you have a certain expectation and this happens, of course, I'd be upset and angry too. Here's the biggest problem, and getting right down to the nitty gritty of this discussion is because there's one business principle that's missing in all discussions. It's the most important topic in marketing. It's the most important number anybody can know, because if you know this number, all of a sudden, marketing becomes incredibly easy to understand. It becomes incredibly easy to move forward with. It becomes incredibly easy to say, how can I multiply these efforts? That number is something called the lifetime value of a customer. Let me repeat that. Lifetime value of a customer. How much is the customer worth that is being generated by the marketing? So, I'm going to get into the real world situation, how marketing actually works, how every marketing you've ever purchased is actually probably a really good marketing tool. I mean that. I really mean that. I mean it that a lot of the marketing you have bought has probably been very good, except for it's been sold, and it's been sold with an expectation that can never be met. And that's where it all falls apart, is expectation. Because once you can understand a proper expectation through the understanding of lifetime value of a customer, we can understand better how marketing is supposed to work. And let me point something out to you that's really important. And every single time I bring this up, I see light bulbs going off in everybody's head, right? I'm going to go back to this scenario right here. The general understanding of how it should work, the expectation from the marketer, how it's being sold. Shame on us if we actually think that this is working this way, guys. Come on. Here's why. I think that we're in 2020, right? We just passed 2019. Had a booming year in the stock market, right? Had a booming year in 401ks. But for a great investment on a normal sort of scenario, if we can yield 10% returns annually, we're doing pretty darn good, right? We're doing pretty darn good. We're taking that all the time. Why do I point that out? Well, because when we put this here on a spreadsheet and we start to see what our general expectation should be, what we're expecting is 25, 37, 60, 20 plus percent month after month in growth. Month after month, guys, you got to understand, month after month, we hope to get these returns. Hey, when I start pointing that out to people, they start to say, yeah, why would I actually believe that to be true? Why would I think that that's okay? Why wouldn't everybody just dump their money into this fictional marketing tool and just say, screw the stock market and then the 401k, 10%? Pfft, you kidding? Getting 25% month after month in my marketing. That's where your money really needs to be. The reason why they don't do that, guys, is because it's so unrealistic. No one's doing it. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, we want to get returns, right? We want to get returns on our money. There's no doubt. That's the sacred relationship of spending money on marketing, is to get more. I'm not trying to buck that golden rule. There's no way we can, because, well, quite frankly, you go out of business under that scenario if that's not held up. But the expectation needs to change. Here's the thing. The most important word in the ROI, the acronym ROI, return on investment, most people think it's return. And I get it. It's a more sexy word. It's the word's much more provocative. Return. I want return. I want to know what that is. But man, we're skipping on this other word, investment. What investment do we ever get into where we spend money now and get it back immediately in a return? Not one. Not one in life. Not one do we do that with. If you find it, you better hold on to it. You better triple, quadruple, hundredfold down over and over and over as much as you can stomach, because it's like a never-ending conveyor belt to cash, and it's just on highest speed possible, and it just continues to dump money in your lap. Just tell me about it. Pull me aside. I want to know. We'll keep a secret. That's the understanding. This is how it's being sold. This is what you actually think is going on. This is why you're angry. This is why you think the industry has treated you unfairly. This is why you're not really trusting of marketers. This is why marketing professionals too are frustrated, because they don't even understand this. They don't even I mean, the company I work for really kind of stinks because, this is the things that they're producing for clients. Okay, let's get into it, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use my wife's business. My wife has a salon. My wife, for a lot of intents and purposes, is a whole heck of a lot better than me at um, at business. There's a lot I can learn from her, but she leans on me from time to time in marketing. And um, she always has people soliciting her for marketing. And the interesting thing is, I'm the biggest proponent for her to use as much as she can outside of what we do here, right? I don't do AdWords. Do it. I don't do SEO. Go ahead and do it. It's important. It works as long as we have the right understanding. And because we understand lifetime value of the customer so well, we're going to go ahead and purchase based upon the idea, can it generate one customer at her salon, right? So at her salon, she typically, average tickets at $150 or so, right? She does the hair and the eyelashes and microblading, aesthetics, and laser. She got a lot of stuff going on over there. But typically the ticket's about $150, right? So hypothetical situation again, all this, we're using this $2,000 price point. They buy the marketing for $2,000 and we get a ticket for $150. And by the way, this is the formula. And under this scenario, I'm telling her to sign up immediately if I believe it can generate one customer, because we have to understand lifetime value of a customer, right? So spend $2,000 in month one, get $150, right? Most people don't like that math. I wouldn't expect you to if you understood marketing under the sad face. This was your expectation, right? Because it's going to make you angry, but we understand it a little bit different. Let me go ahead and show you some information that I put together. That's kind of why I've had to cut the camera away. I'm going to unhide this without getting too far down the road here. Now I'm showing a couple things that are happening month to month in these different scenarios, right? And in month one, I'm just going to focus on month one. So month one, we spent $2,000, got $150. Something interesting happens here. This customer comes back in month two, right? This customer, we're going to highlight in, let's say, green, right? We're going to highlight in green. They're going to come back in month three, in month four. Now, granted, this scenario or this idea of this working assumes that my wife has a good enough business to get people to come back. If you don't have a good enough business to get people to come back, don't buy marketing, fix your business. Best thing you can do, right? So we got this kind of little thing going on here. Let's go back to month two here. Month two, we spent $2,000, generated the one customer, right? So let's go ahead and say it's yellow, right? So we got this. Well, they're going to come back the next month. They're going to come back the next month. They're going to come back the next month. Right? You see where this is going? I don't need to go about doing this over and over and over again on this because it's going to get boring. You see where it's going. They come back. They come back. And they come back. Now, if we figure this formula out long enough, say 36 months, I got 36 months of that 150 in there, right? First month, one customer, not doing well, not getting a return. Second month, they've come back, generated another one, still not doing well, not generating return. Sometime around this marker, let's go back over here real quick. Month 14, we start turning the corner. We start breaking even, basically, right? So between 13 and 14, we start breaking even. And from there, we're doing pretty darn good, right? Here's the month one customer. What were they? Green? Is that what we had them at? Same thing. Same thing. Let me go ahead and hide all these so we can go ahead and get back to having all these numbers make a little bit more sense. Just going to hide them. It's still there. It's still being calculated, right? So if you ask anybody in investment, say, hey, look, is this typically how kind of expect to get a return on your investment? This is a real investment. You're investing money. And now you're getting a return, right? Down the road, we have to have this mature. If I knew what my lifetime value of a customer was, in this case, it's 150 times 36. Gosh, imagine if that customer actually stayed 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. How much are they worth? How much would you spend to make $5,400? Right? Would you spend $2,000 to get $5,400? And when I propose that question to people, interestingly enough, the overwhelming answer is, duh, I would do that, right? Who wouldn't do that? Of course you'd do it. Especially if you were able to go ahead and almost triple your money in 3 years. That's actually a pretty darn good investment. Actually outpaces a lot of investments, traditional investments in the market. So it is a good investment. Even under those circumstances, a good investment because we get better returns than we get other places, but it's a little bit more in line with how we should understand things. Now, interestingly enough, this also doesn't account for when month one customer, good experience, nice hair, great eyelashes, refers a friend. Refers a friend. Right? Month two customer, great hair, great eyelashes, skin's looking good, refers a friend. Now that friend's coming back. Now that friend is coming back. Right? If we kept going down the line and doing this, and if I broke this out, now all of a sudden, this is becoming pretty interesting. All these numbers get supercharged big time. Month three customer, nice hair, nice skin, refers a friend. Refers a friend. Right? This makes sense. This is how your business is growing. Right? Here we go. The referral. She was referred by month three's customer. The referral now, good skin, good hair. Refer a friend. Refer a friend. Now, all of a sudden, let's say I'm using this month one customer, right? They're worth $5,400 over the 36-month period. We determined that this is a good investment as a standalone idea. Now they're referring a friend. So now that customer now is worth $10,800. Why? Because, they just referred somebody else that's worth $5,400. All because I spent $2,000. Now all of a sudden, on month 44, that referral refers another friend. I spent $2,000 to get this customer that was worth $5,400 over 36 months. They referred a friend which was worth $3,600, and that friend referred a friend which was worth $5,600. Now, I got $16,000 worth of value from $2,000. Yeah, we're talking over a 5-6 year span of time. This number gets out of control if you start looking at it that way. And all of a sudden, marketing makes more sense. Totally makes more sense. This is how marketing works, guys. You cannot judge your marketing without taking all this in effect. If I told you there was a scenario that there was $100,000 for marketing, right? And it generated one customer for you. And over the course of that time, let's say it's a 5-year period. Sorry, that was bad math. That customer's worth $9,000, right? But that customer refers somebody. And that person refers somebody. And that person refers somebody. And that person refers somebody. And all of a sudden, that person refers. And this person was an anchor of the local news station. And they show up and start going on their own social media saying, yeah, I get my stuff done at ABC Beauty. And all of a sudden, you get 100 customers that are worth $9,000. Is that 100,000 worth it for that one customer? Under this hypothetical scenario, it is. Yeah, I mean, guys, look, that was a hypothetical scenario. Do we think that this is going to happen? No, we're not thinking that this is always going to happen. It's pretty whimsical to think. But the point is this. Here's the bigger point. Here's the biggest point in marketing. Know your lifetime value of a customer. Know who gets referred. Know who does the referring. Know how often they come back. Know their buying habits. And then all of a sudden, when it comes down to the decisions in marketing that you want to make, they are a lot easier to make because it's so finely tuned on the new people that are walking through the door. Additionally, marketing is designed to get you out of obscurity. Not to do this linear sort of equation. It's silly. It doesn't work this way. The reason why Budweiser spends $5 million for an ad for 30 seconds after people have purchased their beer is this. Because there's 150 million people watching the Super Bowl, right? And let's say a paltry, this is 1%, right? So let's say a paltry 0.01% actually start purchasing something after they see it. 1/100th of 1%. You got 1,500 customers, right? Let's further assume that these customers are going to spend $30 a month. I think this is pretty low, conservative. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to assume people drink a lot, but I don't even know what $30 buys. Let's assume it though, right? And that's $360 a year. Fair? 12 times 30. Say they're going to be living for 20 years. And then let's say they go ahead and through parties and barbecues, and over that 20 years, they go ahead and they recruit 2 buddies, right? So I'm going to put 3 here. Why? Because if it was just one, if it was one person, that's just yourself. You're just going to get it back. But a second buddy is going to double that, and or a first buddy's going to double it, and a second buddy's going to triple it, right? You, your buddy, somebody else. What is this, guys? What is it? I don't know what it is. I might have to erase this, right? I have no idea. I have not done this calculation. Is that 32 million bucks? They put 5 million in, get 32 million out. Right? Is that a real investment? Yeah, we're talking 20-year period of time. Put 5 million in, wait 20 years, be worth 32 million bucks. We're not accounting for inflation, so this 360 would likely go up to 500. If people want to say, well, Justin, you know, if you put 5 million in today and just put it into a small 401k, it'll be worth that just because of inflation. Yeah, well, this price actually goes up then at that point, and all of a sudden, you know, we're getting different numbers. So the price that people are paying is going to be in line with the rate of inflation, and therefore it always holds up. 1/100th of 1%, spending nothing, a couple beers at the bar at most for the entirety of the relationship for 20 years. Yeah, people are going to live 20 years. You know, if you're 25 right now, 30 years old right now, it's likely you're going to drink beer for 20 years. If you're a drinker, I'm not a drinker, but if you're a drinker, that's it. And it's likely over that course of 20 years, you're going to say, yeah, I drink Bud Light. It's better. It's got less calories. Doesn't make me full. Doesn't make me sick. You should try it. Two buddies, right? Not taking into consideration what these buddies are going to do. They may recruit somebody. Anheuser-Busch knows what they're doing. They know the lifetime value of a customer. They're spending $5 million for a 30-second ad after everyone's already made that purchase decision. I can't stress this enough to anybody who's paid attention for this entire video. The most important video you can watch in marketing, because it teaches you a lesson about lifetime value of a customer. It teaches you how you should look at marketing and the expectations you should have. It eliminates these discussions and unrealistic expectation. It eliminates the anger you have towards the lack of production. And it gets you on the path of really generating a plan for your business that's long-term, that is successful, and says, look, I'm being methodical. I am going to make an investment. That investment is going to give me a return over time, just like every other investment in the history of investments. So that way, when you go ahead and you take in that one customer, you're not focused on the marketing not working. You're focused on what you should be, is cultivating the relationship with that customer. What can you get them to do to refer people? How can you get them to buy more stuff? Right? Make the value of that customer even bigger over time. Most of you have listened to this. If you said, hey, someone came in, offered me marketing for $2,000 and tried to convince me that I should buy because of I can generate one customer, a lot of you maybe before listening to this would say, no, get out. Are you serious? No. Maybe some of you actually start to see this and can apply it to your own business. Say, that is true. That marketing, that marketing did generate Mark, and Mark comes back every single week for a haircut. Mark comes back to the restaurant once a week with his family. Mark buys pizza from us every other week. So yeah, I spent $500 to get that ad in the newspaper. This guy came in. It was the only guy. His name was Mark, and he came in and said, hey, and I see you guys are giving away a free pizza in the newspaper. I just want to take advantage of it. And I went back to the newspaper and reamed him out, because the only thing that happens when this guy Mark, and I gave him a free pizza in the newspaper, $500. But if I think about it now, Mark comes back with his 2 kids and his wife every other week. His kids love it. And ring up a $30 tab. I've actually seen him bring in some friends from time to time. And if I think about it, those friends don't come back nearly maybe as much as Mark does, but I see them maybe every other month. And if I really kind of start to calculate that $500 and that free pizza, maybe I spent $530. And maybe in that month I gave away something. I didn't make anything. But if I think about Mark, him coming in, few people he's referred, the consistency and the revenue that he generates for the business, yeah, now I can understand that was pretty worth it. It was very much worth it. And now he could feel better about next time he goes and spends $500. Now he can feel better when the marketing professional comes to him, starts saying, hey, what's the average cost of a pizza? Let me go ahead and show you. I can go ahead and generate 30 customers for you a month at a $20 pizza. And he can go to the marketer and say, hey, man, just hold on, right? Hold on. We don't need to go there. I think you got a decent program because I do believe it'd generate at least one customer. I'm going to buy from you, but let me tell you why. It's not because of the reasons that you're trying to tell me, because you're selling me wrong. Let me tell you about lifetime value of a customer and how you should actually approach future potential customers as it relates to your product, because you're going to be more effective. You're going to make people happy. You're going to set a better expectation for them. A lot of people ask me, Justin, great, get it. Thank you for showing this to me. I never even looked at it that way. Lifetime value of a customer, I'll start working on that and trying to understand better that, but I still need to know whether or not I'm getting a value out of that marketing, because am I supposed to just spend $2,000 for 36 months and find out whether or not the customer you generated in 1 month stayed with me? Because that's a pretty big risk, Justin. If you think about it, you're asking me to spend 75 grand and roll the dice. I understand that. Now, it's a fair question. What you really want to do in your marketing, if you really want to know your return on investment, you just got to start understanding your revenue from a month-to-month basis. December 2019, December 2020. If you've grown, it's how much money did I put into my marketing? How much did I grow? Have I grown? If I've grown, then my marketing is doing something. Am I paying a reasonable amount for that growth? The answer is yes. Yes, I've grown. Yes, I've spent a reasonable amount of marketing. Now you can start making different decisions. Can I optimize it? Is there things I can do to make it better? Or is one thing that I'm doing working better than the other? It's got to be segments of time that you kind of look at your revenue and look at your marketing portfolio to suggest, is it working? Can I optimize it? Can I shift some money around? But you need to be able to take snapshots over a period of time to see whether or not revenue is rising. And I could talk forever on this, guys, and all the different scenarios that you could run into. But this video's lasted pretty good amount of time, and quite frankly, it's because I think that it's just so important. It's an idea that's been missed over and over and over again. It's creating just incredible amount of angst in the market as it relates to customers thinking that marketers are not good at all. I mean, across the board, there's a huge amount of distrust in there, and it's because this expectation of how it's supposed to work is also being perpetuated by the industry because it's pretty convenient to sell it this way. It's huge rotation, big circular door of vendors in, vendors out, vendors in, vendors out. And also on the other side, it's customers in, customers out. It's this never ending prospecting and for marketers. It's this never ending shift of what works, what doesn't work for business owners. And they're everyone's frustrated. Everyone's frustrated because everyone has the wrong idea. Let's start educating ourselves a little bit better. Let's start digging into the number. What's the lifetime value of a customer? How can I get that number up so that the new customers that are generated are worth more money? How do I get them to come back? How do I get them to refer a friend? How do I get them to buy more stuff? We can do those things. All of a sudden, the decisions to invest in new customers becomes a lot easier. It's a lot more justified. It's a lot more growth potential over time. I hope you found this very informative, guys. I hope to continue to drop some of this knowledge. This one is long, and I get it, and it's just because it's so important. And I'll definitely won't make these as long, but hopefully you stuck in there with me because this is it. This is good. This is good info. I want you guys to have a great day. Super Bowl's coming up this weekend where we got the Chiefs and the 49ers. I'm a Cardinals guy, Arizona. That's where we're from. When the Cardinals going to get back in? I'll probably do thousands of more videos until that happens. But have a great weekend. Be safe, guys, and we'll talk soon.